Hello, Marcos Loman here, and today we're at the BRANDT Research Farm with another Info to Grow video. And today we'll be talking about fall fertility, and we'll be joined by Brian Dintelmann, our BRANDT technical agronomist, working directly with growers in our retail side. And with current fertilizer prices and commodity prices, I'm sure everyone is thinking about how should they manage their phosphorus, potassium, fertility. Well, one thing we can't forget is that what makes Illinois or the Midwest in general one of the most productive areas in the world is our soil fertility. And what are we doing here at our research farm? What is our approach for phosphorus and potassium management? We're focusing a lot on our soil test, our yield monitor data, and our removal rate. So we're pretty much putting back what our crops removed with the grain. So when we think about a crop growing, some nutrients go to their biomass, some nutrients go into the grain. Whatever goes into the grain, we're removing with our crops. So we want to make sure we put that fertility back in our soil, and that has been our approach here for phosphorus and potassium management. So Brian, what are you seeing out there when talking to growers? What's their approach this year for their phosphorus and potassium management?
Yeah, so obviously we lead with the removal rate, just like you had mentioned that you guys practice here at the research farm. So we see a lot of our customers on the retail side want to put those removal rates out there. There are some areas though that based on the prices of everything this year, we're cutting back in some of those areas. And one of the areas we're seeing specifically get cut in 2025 are some of our phosphates based on the price of those fertilizers, but also our soil tests, like you'd mentioned, are generally very high in P levels here in Central Illinois. So we're making that decision agronomically, but also there's some economic benefits there as well. But where we're not seeing a whole lot of guys cut right now is on their potassium. So they're keeping those potassium rates up based on their removal.
That's interesting because if there's one common denominator when talking to high yield growers is that they all look for that high potassium saturation in their soil, and there's several important things that potassium does inside the plant, but one of them that is very important is regulate water use inside the plant. And we see with our base saturation K here, we're about 5 to 7% here at the research farm, very high levels compared to the areas around us, but still that gives us a lot of resilience in years like this that we had 60 days of drought during grain fill. The crop was not getting that water, but because we had good levels of K in our soils, we were able to utilize that water better and obtain good yields. So our yields this year at the farm are actually pretty surprising to us considering how dry it was at the end of the season. So interesting, and I think that makes a lot of sense when not cutting back on that potassium. And Brian, another very important variable that we cannot forget when we're talking about fall fertility is our soil pH. So we know that the soil pH has huge influence on how much of that fertilizer is actually used by the plant. So we want to make sure that our soil pH is adequate, meaning in between 6, 6.5, somewhere around there, to maximize the use of your fertilizer. So you're already making a huge investment on that fertilizer. We want to make sure that it's available in the soil and that the plant can actually take it up.
Absolutely, and we talked a lot today about maintenance and putting back what that crop takes off. And a lot of times what we at retail, when we make those maps, our VRT maps, we're making that based on our yield maps. So making sure we have properly calibrated machines and yield monitor data based on moisture of the crop or different hybrids is really important to make those maps and those fertilizer recommendations accurate.
So I know there's a lot of variables to consider when making your fall fertility program. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us or your local BRANDT representative. I would like to thank Brian for being here with us today, sharing your insights. And as always, stay tuned for the next Info to Grow video.